father gotta do? What?
Hey guys, it's your boy Japanese Tutor, and we're back at it again. And what we're doing is we're learning how white's D pawn can turn into a liability after some piece trades. So we have this position here, and so we're still going to go over pawn structure. So the topic of this lesson is still pawn structure. So this position here, if you want, you can take your time and try to find the best plan, or you can just follow along. So if you don't have the book is going to be down below. And for this position, I'm not going to have the PGN, but I'm going to start putting in the PGNs of the famous games that I go over, so that the next game we're going to go over is going to be down below as well. This is a typical position when that occurs, when how the asset can turn into a liability. And hopefully you guys have solved it or tried it for yourself. So white's attacking chances are slim, and that makes the D pawn the most obvious target on the board. This becomes apparent in a game from an international tournament in 1968. And the move that black should play, so it's black to play, is bishop e7, and the next move should be bishop f6. Okay, white should have recognized the danger when he played bishop c3 and queen b2. Then black could have increased his pressure with g6, queen e7, queen f8, and then queen d7, fianchettoing the queen, and then c5, or by tripling his heavy pieces on the d file, as he does in this game. So instead of bishop c3, white fumbled and played queen to c2. So let's go over those moves. So bishop f6, bishop e7, queen to c2, kind of huge inaccuracy, where they should have played bishop to c3 first, and queen b2. So queen c2, bishop f6, bishop c3 here, queen e7, a4, and this gets a question mark, and black replied with rook d7, rook c1, rook c to d8, queen b2, and then g6. White's loss of time meant that black can add decisive pressure against d4 with his queen before white can double the rooks on the d file. For example, if right now they play rook d1, then black can play queen f8, and if rook e2 trying to double rooks on the d file, queen to g7 and rook ed2 is too slow because of c5, and that costs white a pawn. So black is much better in this position, and we have to take we have to be very careful with our analysis of these positions. I mean, a4 is just a natural move when you don't have a plan. I mean, for me, it seems like, okay, I'm just gonna play here. Maybe I can get a6, or maybe I can get a5 or a6 myself, and it seems like a very natural move. But the plans in this position, so we can see, is that we should bring the bishop here, and you should try to defend d4 at all costs, because you know that this can be a liability. So that's a nice point to take away. Okay, so after g6, h4. So yeah, so white resorted to a desperation attack. So h4, queen e8, h5, rook to d6. And I think we're familiar with the structure that we're going to go for. So h captures g6, h captures g6. And white was lost soon after because of king g2. They'd be saying, okay, I'm going to play over here now. Queen d7. So this is called Ali Ekin's gun. And we're putting massive pressure on this. Rook h1. Bishop captures. Rook captures. Rook captures. Queen d2, trying to get a little cheapo mate over here. f6, exclamation mark. Exclam. And then queen h6, followed by queen g7. Stopping all play, and you're just up a pawn. And then you have this very beautiful pawn over here, which is going to win you the game. And especially the king can come and defend a lot of the key squares. It's very, very nice and very interesting, actually. I think we're just going to play with our pawns and try to push our advantage. So the next topic of today is a black c5. Black's most natural counterplay is to trade a c pawn for white's d pawn. It is easier to engineer than the other break e5 because black usually has a much greater control of c5 and white has less of it compared with e5. A goal of c5 is to free black's minor pieces, and it opens part of the a8 to h1 diagonal for his bishop. A trade of pawns may give him excellent outposts for his knights at either e5 or c5. If white reinforces his d pawn with c2 to c3, then c captures d4, c captures d4. Black gets an ideal blockading outpost at d5. We'll look further at this structure, the Isolani, after, but here is just how c5 can be met. And a striking example of the penetrating power of black's pieces after c5 is in Gligoric versus Smyslov, Moscow 1963. So we're going to take a look at this game. e4, c6. We're just going to enjoy the game. Knight c3. So we get the familiar structure, the familiar Caro structure that we've been talking about, the 3 and 4. Right, so their plan is to either play e5 or c5. c5 is considered a small inaccuracy. And bishop f4. Okay, so here it's black to play, so maybe we'll flip this over. So distrust a pawn move. This is what Emmanuel Lasker warned. Examine carefully its balance sheet. Here, white has underestimated the cost of c2 to c4. And again, this move just looks natural, right? c2 to c4 looks extremely natural. His d pawn may not be vulnerable because none of black's minor pieces can attack it. But the d4 square is weak after c5. Had he not moved the c pawn, he could reinforce d4 with c3. So the natural response of bishop e3, c captures d4, bishop captures d4 is actually bad because after a4, bishop c2, bishop captures c2, bishop, queen captures c2, queen captures here. Bad, right? Because we're down a piece. And also if here, bishop captures here, then excuse me, then we have here rook captures, and this is again still bad. So yeah, bishop e3 does not work. And white apparently rejected d5 because if e captures d5, c captures d5, bishop e4. And they rejected this because they underestimated the tactic d6, which is a really, really nice blow. Because after, let's say, bishop captures d6, knight captures f7. Now we're attacking here and we're attacking here. Right? Or if queen captures d6, then we have knight to g6, holding this, attacking the queen. Very, very nice blow. And if we step away, or we're going to have to step away from the bishop, then knight check wins. And even if takes, then we take with the knight first, and then we take back the queen. So just winning. And again, it looks very, very natural, right? So kind of cool. So d5 here, e captures d5, c captures d5, and then just bishop d6 instead of bishop e4. And black is slightly better. In the game, what happened was captures here, bishop captures c5, and then queen e2. Hoping to contest all of the d-file squares after rook ad1. But the reply queen to d4, very strong move actually, right? Because you can't even play bishop b3 because I have this. So you're controlling the d-file. Threatened the bishop on f4 and led to bishop g3, a4. That wins material, whether white opts for bishop d1, a3, or if bishop c2 instead, queen captures b2, pretty much wins material as well. And if rook ad1, then queen e4 is also extremely strong. Because if queen captures e4, knight captures e4, were the moves where this bishop is free. And, you know, we have to move it somewhere. Maybe play here to attack. This is one of the top recommendations. And then rook f to c8. Knight capture c5. Knight capture c5. And now the bishop can't move. And now we're going to win the bishop. So just bishop captures a4. Rook captures a4. Maybe just... And this is hopelessly lost. So it was a really, really cool game. And this game really illustrates what can go wrong after some natural moves, right? Like here, like c4 just looks like, okay, we're playing like a queen's gambit. I'm going to put my bishop on c2. Maybe we'll trade off, right? My d-pawn's kind of weak. But in all actuality, you're not prepared to play c4 and the d4 pawn is weak. So we should take heed and try to say, hey, okay, our piece is strong. Remember, you can't take back pawn moves. You can always take back piece moves, right? You can move them back. But pawns stay there. I challenge you to try to find these kind of weaknesses in your games. And if you do happen to play them, comment them down below. I would love to see anything that I'm teaching being used. That's it for me today. Thank you guys so much for being here. You guys are amazing. I'll see you next time. And if you like the content, consider subscribing and liking the video. Until next time.
Yo, did CB make this?
Since us produced it.